So later we made this structure, we had to install, what I mean to say. It's a very nice structure, people will see like, where is the compression column, where it is. Okay, anyway. So one can create a good tensegrity structures using the bamboo. That's what I wanted to mention over here. Yeah, many times people say, even in the morning time, people say like, can it be like, is it love-hate relationship between the bamboo and concrete? Very important, you need to understand, when you are placing the bamboo as a strip or a column or a full element into the concrete. So you will get a little information only about in the National Building Code of India. So for this, we did a study, particularly. So when you are inserting the bamboo inside the concrete, if you completely, covering the bamboo, nothing will happen. Okay. So it is like you have to give a cover. Natural, because it is natural material. Any wood material or any timber or bamboo, alternate wetting and drying will cause a problem. Okay. So either you have to completely conceal, the bamboo inside, or you have to open. That means completely it has to be open. Very important. So this is one, here you can see we placed the reinforcement and we poured the concrete and we checked without formwork, not without formwork, without a permanent shuttering. So in another, I'll show you, in another one we kept the permanent shuttering as it is, bamboo mat board as it is inside. So for the same wall you can also place the strip grid as a slab. So wherever the problem is there, you can run a steel rod, what I mean to say. Yeah, one more very important fire safety.
Because the wind is blowing from the bottom to top. We want to see whether the blowing the wind.
Bamboo, when fire comes in contact with bamboo, the outer layer, the bamboo chicken. So how do they make the outer layer? It only blackens the surface.
Check on the roofing sheet. Once observing the situation after nearly 12 minutes of exposure to.
It's very simple because it is a bundle of fibers. Okay.
Even though it was right below, the cotton was burning and this year only the other surrounding areas had got charred.
Both the ends.
And the temperature.
Otherwise, you give the fiber.
Yeah.
If you don't give the, it won't immediately. So there is a fire retarding mechanism to the bamboo. Next is composites people are making using the bamboo. You know that bamboo weaved mats, they convert into boards. There are two weaving patterns, rectangular and herringbone pattern. Herringbone pattern gives you much higher strength. So this is how the bamboo mat boards are made. Composites, corrugated sheet. If the die is in corrugated shape, you will get a corrugated sheet. I'm skipping the values. So a lot of IS codes, if you purchase any of these, there is a standard codes wherein you can test it, or you can give it to any of the college for that. I'll send it. So how to make, So now I'll show you one 2-story house. Okay. This is a plan we made. Okay. So for that only, we initially tested the columns, both single and double columns. These double columns are bundled together with a nut and bolt, and different joinery mechanisms are available. So some of the places we tried different foundation connections. So one we buried, one is we lifted up and above the foundation and other things. So this is a mezzanine floor, the back side. Okay. So wherever the loads are coming high, because the mezzanine floor loads are coming high, we use the double column. You can see here. This is 2007 we made this. And also the beams were tested. It's a 12 feet bamboo, 12 feet beams we tested. We gave a spacing of like 6 feet. Composite beams. It took almost like more than the required load. So you can see the inside portion. A little amount of steel we've used, bamboo steel composite beams to take the heavy load from the top. So we've used a permanent shuttering, after placing. So connections are very, very important in bamboo. Just to tell you, this is Z angle. This connects. This is a ground floor bamboo, single bamboo pole. It is coming. This is the beam above that. Above the beam, there is a wooden top plate. Then this is the landing beam of staircase. Okay, so this Z angle connects all the four, beam and above column and the landing beam. So connections, joinery is very, very important. You have to sketch it out very neatly and make sure you create enough bearing in the joinery. This is a box window. You just have to place a L rod and then place the bamboo strip grid and then mesh, and then you can plaster it. You can get this is the inside view of the house. So you can see, this is what I'm talking about here. This is the landing beam, and then this is the bottom, this wooden top plate, and then beam, and then. That time it costed around 5.5 lakhs. That time regular RCC was like 1,200 rupees per square feet. Okay, almost half the cost. This was in 2007 I'm talking about. So later we observed how these bamboos were behaved over a period of time. If the bottom portion not treated, we have not treated few, we have treated few. So after 5 years, if something happens, how we can retreat it, to say that restoration or whatever. This is another house made by our old scientists. This is also with same, little finishing is very good. You can see the trusses and then the columns. Detailing is very neat in this particular. This is the balcony. This is all, the same, using the bamboo as the columns and then non-load bearing walls and then things like that. This is the front portion. Yeah, government also put a lot of efforts with our organization. BMTPC, a lot of houses built in Mizoram, Tripura, some of the residential buildings, community buildings. Almost the cost is 25 to 30% reduced, because bamboo is available in the same place. Many times the cost of the bamboo is much lower than the transportation cost. Sometimes transportation cost is higher than the material cost. These are some of the houses in Mizoram. And okay. Now I'll tell you one small story. During the COVID, what I did. I used to go to cycle. It's a story on bamboo bicycle. I'm still doing it and testing it. So in Japan, when I was there in 2009, I used to go from hostel to the test place. I told you 7-story wood building test. I used to go in a cycle. In 2019, when COVID came, so I'm a shuttle badminton player. All the indoor stadiums were closed. Then I started cycling again. Okay. Then I realized, why not I can make a bamboo bicycle. Then to understand the mechanism and other thing, I traveled almost 12,000 kilometers for last 2-3 years. Daily 50, 100, 200. The longest was 600. There was what we call super randonneur. We call it as 200, 300, 400, 600. If you ride, call it as super randonneur. Just to understand various parts. Now, if you give me cycle, I'll just remove each and every part and I can refit in 1 hour. Okay. So just to understand the behavior of the bicycle, we did. Then we started working on, the joinery portion of the bamboo. How to connect, the various elements. You have majorly any bamboo bicycle you see, you Google it, you will get a lot of designs. Only thing is you need to understand. Okay. So the frame ones you want to make, you need to understand the frame mechanism and all. So the connection is very important. How do you connect? So you can use a steel or fiber composite to do the joinery. So we did it and started working on it, and I'm doing a lot of because initially itself, technically, if you make it, then later, this is only out of passion, no commercial or whatever it is. Whatever I do it on a passion. Okay, it is not coming. That is the connection between the bamboo and okay. There is one more case study I'm explaining. It's a precast reinforced park bench. So my institute is opposite to NID, National Institute of Design. So all the faculty were friends. I'm talking about in Bangalore. So that time I was working in BMS IT as a head of the department. And so one of the girl came and asked me would like to do a park bench in front of their house. So in that park, there are 200 people regularly. They used to come for walking. Then I asked, we will do a ergonomic precast bamboo reinforced park bench. So for that, we used self-compacting concrete, because when you pour the concrete, it flows on its own and it settles. You need not do vibration. So no reinforcement or anything will get disturbed. So anyway, I'm skipping this. So they've designed the concrete. And this is very important. The 200 people data she has taken. What is that she has taken? Is the femur length and knee length. Femur length is your knee to the back side. So that gives the bench width, wherein when you sit, okay, that gives the bench width. And the knee height, okay, from ground to knee length, that gives the height of the bench. Okay. Then she collected all the 200 people, categorized male and female, okay, separately, and she made the calculations. She has taken all the values, and this is how then percentile. Okay, you can see here. This is a female femur length, male femur length, average. Female knee length, male knee length, average. When you take the average of 50th and 75th percentile, your breadth has come. 52.5, around 1 feet 8 inches your breadth. Height is around 1 feet 6 inches. So any person of those 200 people approximately sits, they feel comfortable, ergonomical. So if you go to a primary school, you cannot sit in their chair, because it is ergonomically designed for them, small kids. Japanese having a different furniture, Europeans having a different furniture. That's how ergonomically, Anyway, she has done it, and so then she started treating, and then split she made, and then she made the molds, placed it, and concrete poured, and made the benches, and then benches were tested at the end. Okay, so 7 people load I asked her to test. It is like almost 720 kgs with a minimum, very minimal deflection, 4 mm deflection. So we measured the deflection. So what I mean to say is, when you are doing it, do it properly. So these are the different kinds of applications wherein one can. So this is a large one, Goa project, recently after the structural stability and other, some of the elements design, and it is very next to the sea. This is the plan. So each and every individual element were fabricated separately, brought to the site, lifted using crane, and then placed it. This is a restaurant structure. So each one, the numbers were calculated. This is the house. You can see the bundled columns, and so here you can see the bearing area is properly taken care. So after that, there is a heavy, what we call rain storm has come in Goa in 2020-21. Even then it withstood without any problem. What I mean to say is the connectivity is very, very important. And the bearing between different elements, how do you connect? The more area you have to create in each and every part of this thing. This is during the construction. This is the team, one of the architect, and then he just came out of the software, and out of passion, the people do. And last time also, some of the universities, they've started including bamboo as a effectable. In architecture, I've seen in most of the universities, they've included, particularly when they are working on the materials. This is one of the gazebo we did it in Imphal, okay, on a training program. Simple gazebo. So Northeast style is a little different. One can go and observe. It is easy. The connections or the fish mouth, the typical fish mouth designs, and nut and bolt is more common nowadays. Make sure you have to be very careful in choosing the material, particularly the wall thickness and and other things. Yeah, these are the typical houses we tested. Particularly, I'm talking about the thermal comfort. Okay, so this is a typical Trada house. This is a steel prefabricated. This is a wooden prefabricated. This is a mud bamboo house. So when we tested the temperature during the summer, when compared with the RCC house, almost 2 to 5 degrees difference is there using sensors when we tested. Okay, this is one of the project carried out, sponsored by National Bamboo Mission. And also we calculated the embodied energy of all the materials, okay, in each of these houses. Compared to RCC house, the embodied energy is much lower. Whoever is working on green building, IGBC, when they are giving the ratings and other things. Anyway, this is a typically different material and different part. Thank you. This is my email ID and mobile number. If I love to interact, using questions.
Thank you, Jagdish sir. It was a very informative session, wherein you have made us understand the potential and possibilities of the material. Your unique experience had given us a very intense glimpse of the material use. Your tremendous exploration in this field is a very remarkable stage for us to just witness today during the presentation. Thank you, Jagdish sir. And we are extremely sorry for the technical glitch which you have faced during the presentation.
No issue.
Now we are open for the question answer session. So from audience and students, you can please proceed with the questions.
Sir, I just needed to ask you about two things. One is, how does bamboo perform when we try to make some geometries which are in circular shapes or maybe parabolic or elliptical shapes? And second, how does this thing perform for the cantilevers? Like most of the structures are having basic cantilevers, but if we are having some themes of large cantilevers for elevational or aesthetic purposes, how does this thing perform?
So first question is about, sorry, I forgot. I worked as a scientist, I forget things very easily. Circular shape, yeah. Bamboo can be bent using the heat treatment. Okay, so you have seen in particularly this structure, you can bend it. So you have to choose a proper wall thickness and proper diameter of the bamboo, and also your bending length. The bamboo should be more in length. You cannot take like 4 feet bamboo and bend it. Okay, so it should have a sufficient length. Bamboo bending is possible. You just have to carefully select the bamboo and then bend it. There is a heat treatment, famous heat treatment. People bend it, and after placing it, okay, it is just like a pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so it is in tension. You make sure it is sufficiently, anchored on both the direction. That is about the because you are tied in all the parts of the joint, because there are like additional the bottom you make it rigid, fixed, and then in between some member will run. At the end anyway you will fix it again. So it won't happen unless you dismantle. Point number one. Second thing about cantilevers. Cantilevers, when you are making cantilevers, it is better to make number of bundles. The more you, it is just like a depth and width. Okay, so if you have the bundled columns as a cantilever, definitely it will take. So this bundle depends on the length of the cantilever. Single, usually for verandas and all, single pole is enough. Okay, but if you are placing a lot of load and if you are hanging over, the bundle numbers will increase.
And the treatments you did to the bamboos, what is the lifespan of those treatments? Like, do we often need to retreat it again in the span of time?
Yeah, the famous example, again I'll come back to railway sleepers. Okay, if any of the bamboo exposed to the outside weather, it is just like a railway sleeper which is there, exposed to the alternate wetting and drying. What they do, after 3 years, it slowly started, showing it. So usually what they do after 2-3 years, they again put that oil and then make sure the timber sleeper gives the life for some more time. When it comes to the bamboo, typically up to 10 years there won't be any problem. If you see, it all depends on the ingress of moisture, contact to the ground, or any of the foreign material. If it gets in contact, it slowly, suppose foundation, you have to give a sufficient cover. Just like steel, you give the cover, that 40 mm, 30 mm, 40 mm, 50 mm. Just like in marine places, you give a more cover. Similarly, it depends on, again, how much cover you give. And you have to, like a regular material, you have to make sure about the maintenance. Maintenance is the biggest problem in India, we all know. We don't take care of the maintenance. But similarly, the bamboo structures also needs maintenance. If one takes care of it, we can increase the life. 25-30 years structure, no problem. There are structures. But many times what happens, if you take 100 bamboo pieces, 80 are properly treated, 20, you leave it to people wherein they don't know the effect. See, 80 columns are good. These 20 columns started giving trouble. Why? Because there is a quality consciousness. During the execution, that 10% is very, very important. Good evening, sir. I can hear. You can speak.
Hello. Good evening.
Yes.
My question is, can we get such kind of structure ready-made if we order it and we can get it in Maharashtra? Is it possible?
Yeah, there are people. See, costly.
Yeah.
Much, because there is a typical, what we call framework in particularly bamboo structure. Sometimes nobody is interested to come. If architect or engineer goes and say would like to go ahead with the bamboo structure, client say a lot of questions or will you give guarantee that this and all. Sometimes they'll come and ask, but there are no people. But there are in Maharashtra, people are doing it. I can give you addresses. There are there is a Kodal, there is a people wherein they're doing the structures.
I'm repeating the question. Can we compare RCC life with bamboo structures life?
Can we compare RCC? RCC is typically 50 years, 100 years, yeah. Because it depends on, again, state to state. Mumbai wanted to demolish their structures, like, the old structure. Bamboo, as long as you treat it properly, just like wooden structures, okay. If it is giving life, there is no problem. We have done weathering studies also. 25, 30 years, not a problem. Because old structures, not many are there. So this is what I'm talking about, only durability part. So as long as you take care of the bamboo part, okay, that means every year maintenance, or once in 2 years at least you make sure the elements are properly performing and all. You can do the what we call, you can replace some of the portions of it, and then or strengthen it. It will give easily 50 years, but you cannot compare. At the end.
Is there any technique through which we can remove the cellulose which is causing controlling lifespan of bamboo?
But anyway, we are removing this cellulose. During the preservation treatment.
Okay.
Automatically it will die. Starch will die. Starch is a sweet material wherein insects will crave for it. So we are, by giving the proper preservative treatment, either boric borax or creosote oil, whatever brochery process, you are making it insufficient for insects, wherein it won't come and attack.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah. Sir.
It is really nice to, sir, I have attended a few seminars and the workshop on the bamboo, but most of them are focusing on the aesthetics, but you have covered the technical part. That's really interesting to...
That's what organizers asked me to cover. Yeah.
Sir, I have one question about the fire property of the material. Means, can you please tell how to improve that, or how to, because see the major resistance for this material is the fire. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll take it in two different parts. One is using it as a solid bamboo or using it as a composite. Okay. Because you use that material either as a composite or a solid bamboo. When it comes to the solid bamboo, you should never peel off the outer layer. Outer layer is basically the silica. Silica protects the bamboo from the fire. Even if you keep fire torch, and that only it blackens the surface. But when the fire comes in contact with the ends, okay, if you leave the ends, suppose you will cut it for the correct shape and then you place it as a beam, the end fibers are open. So if the fire comes in contact with it, the fiber immediately catches fire. Immediately it catches fire. So you just have to treat that the open ends, or otherwise you have to close it. So there is a fire treatment procedure is given in National Building Code. Okay, when I am sending the slides, you can just go through it. Okay, that is one thing. When it comes to the composites also same thing. Composites, you have seen that the corrugated sheet, when fire is put, only it blackens the surface. But when it comes to the edge of the sheet, one side is a properly weaved one, but the edges are end fibers again. So usually the sheet supplier will treat it with a fire retardant material. So many times we don't take care of these small things, particularly kitchen area. You just have to give little more focus. Yeah.
Is there any treatment difference for bamboos used for furniture, interior purpose as compared to bamboos used for structural purpose?
Yeah, furniture, most of the time we use the furniture inside, interior.
Yes.
You don't require to use creosote oil. When you use creosote oil, it gives a pungent smell.
Okay.
Light creosote oil, earlier in villages, they used to use for mosquito repellent. I think when you remember, it just smells like kerosene. Even the creosote oil also, it gives a similar kind of. This is a little heavy creosote oil. Heavy creosote oil is need not be used for furniture item. So the difference again, I forgot to mention. Any of the bamboo member, you treat it using boric borax solution. It should not be used as a outer portion, like a column. You cannot use it because when rain comes, water gets into it. Even if it gets into it, it leaches out. A leaching out property is there for boric borax solution. That is why for the bamboo which is exposed portions, we use creosote oil. Interiors you don't require. Boric borax is fine. There are other simple treatment that is given.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Just like RCC design, can research-based steel, bamboo structural design is developed, or just like steel design, we will use working stress method or limit state method.
It can be done, but see, this is a natural material.
Yeah.
We can do it, but end of the day, by spending a lot of amount on designing,
Yeah.
but there are structures in our place wherein the lati bamboo, we call it as police use, right? So this is a solid bamboo, we call it. So solid bamboo of 1 inch dia, they've used it completely as a main reinforcement in place of steel.
Yeah.
Full bamboo, they've used it. Only thing is the bonding is you have to take care. Okay, there are two ways bonding can be improved. One is when you use it as a strip. When you cut it into strip, each and every node portion there is a extra, the material that comes out. It is just like a hook. Okay, and the fibers are little exposed. When you place the concrete, the bonding happens properly. Or otherwise, you have to do the sand blasting, like tar and sand.
Yeah.
Usually they do like, the stick they will take and then tar they will dip, sand they will dip and then put it and then concrete. The bonding will be much, much better. So these are the two ways one can improve the.
What is the drawback in using Indian bamboo as compared with other bamboo found in other countries?
Yeah, drawback is very simple. There, for a single rhizome, one straight pole will come, 18 feet, 20 feet. Very straight. You can easily cut it, use it, you can bend it. Okay. But here, in one single rhizome, one is like this, one is like this. Because you have seen that clump, na? So in different directions it will go. So when you are selecting again which species and what is the thickness, are we getting the straight bamboo, how to band it. So most of the people, that's why I told you selection grading treatment is very important. So most of the people, they take up the job. So initially they calculate the number of bamboos and then bring the lot of bamboo from forest and then they grade it and then they strike it if it is a column using the heat treatment and all, they use it. This is how it is done.
Thank you, sir. Now may I request Team I Aurangabad Center to come on the stage to felicitate today's guest speaker, Dr. Jagdish, sir.
From MIT to please felicitate our guest.
Sir, एक second.
He generously shared all his knowledge and wisdom with us. It was really indeed a very inspirational session for all of us. Thank you very much, sir. I also thank the office bearers of various organizations, ISHRAE, IIIT, IGBC, who accepted our invitation and came here for the event. Collaboration is the way to success ahead, and we hope to collaborate in near future for the events ahead also. The next one is with ISHRAE. We will be having World Environment Day, 3rd of June, where we celebrate with Dr. Sridhar Devdhar, who would be presenting a talk on indoor air quality. Finally, I would like to thank the entire team for managing this entire event, micrographics for the entire graphical things, Raju Pawade from Infinity Inmates, Rahul Jain for photography, MOC Shweta and Niharika, and audio visuals by Mahesh Pradhan. And finally, a big thank you to all of you who have been a very big audience.